If you are in any ways interested in getting the most out of your matched grip, you're going to want to go grab a snack, come back, and check this out. The matched grip is the most basic and natural grip for anybody to use. That's why any 2-year-old can pick up a stick and swing it. But there are a lot of very sort of micro mechanics involved with actually perfecting it. Now you can get by without thinking of this stuff, but if you do keep all of these things in mind, you're really going to be able to get the most out of your match grip, fly around your kit in the most efficient way, nice, smooth, fluid, all of that stuff. So in this video, I'm going to give you just a handful of things to consider if you want to master your matched grip, get the most out of your playing so you can sound the best that you can. So if you're taking notes, write these down. All right, so tip number 1, first thing is you want to become fully familiar with all of the parts that you will eventually use when you play with the matched grip. There's 4 of them, all right? So there's the fingers, there's the wrists, there's the elbow, and there's the shoulder. So these are the 4 zones that all eventually get used when you're playing with the match grip. So the more aware you are of these parts, all right, the better you're going to be able to use them to your advantage whenever you go to play anything involving the match grip. So basically with those 4 parts, to keep it nice and short, speed comes from the fingers, power comes from the wrist, you can get extra power from the elbow, and then the whip happens from the shoulder. These parts, these individual parts, are kind of like your gear selector, as if it was a car, right? These are all different gears that you're going to be switching in and out of while you play. Depending on what you're doing, you're really going to be able to take advantage of all these 4 gears. If you're not aware of them, you're not going to use them. So that's tip number 1, man. You got to be aware of all of these 4 parts. Tip number 2, I'm not going to say that this is mandatory, but I'm going to highly suggest it. But consider switching your fulcrum from the index finger to the middle finger. I started doing this several years ago, and my match grip almost instantly felt way better. Basically, the whole idea behind it is the range of motion changes when you go from here to here. So as far as rebound strokes and stuff, it just feels better when you use this finger as your fulcrum. And then your index finger essentially just becomes unemployed. All it's really going to do is just act as a guide for the stick. That's why when you watch a lot of drummers play, you see them kind of sticking their finger out like that. When you see them doing that, they're essentially using the middle finger as the fulcrum. And trust me when I tell you that it feels way better. Tip number 3. Now I said the last tip wasn't mandatory. This one is. I'm not playing around when I say this, all right? Utilize the pinky. And I'm serious about this, all right? Do not underestimate, just because it's the smallest one in the bunch, Do not underestimate the strength of the pinky, okay? When you just have it sitting out here, flying away on its own, watching the rest of the fingers do the work, you're really missing out on some serious control, some speed, and some power. So you need to get used to the idea of having all 4 fingers on the stick at all times. Now this is especially important once you decide to switch to the middle finger for your fulcrum, because you don't want your ring finger to do all the work. You're going to need that pinky on there to get the job done. So get used to the idea, man, of having that pinky on the stick. It can do a lot of stuff back there. Tip number 4, I'm going to call this one an essential one too. You got to know how and when to switch gears. All right? It's one thing to know that you got them. That's great. But now you got to know when to use them. It's like driving a car on a racetrack, right? You have to know when's the right time to be in the right gear for what you're trying to do. When we're playing the drums in any situation, we're constantly switching gears. Sometimes we want speed, sometimes we want power, sometimes we want control. This involves all of this, right? Those 4 parts that I was talking about. If you're aware of those, you're gonna end up knowing how to use them. So a great way to sort of help heighten your awareness of these gears and learn how and when to use them is to learn the different types of the match grip. All right, so that means getting familiar with the German, getting familiar with the French grip, and then also the American. Each one of these grips involves a different positioning of the hand, right? So if somebody ever asks you, what's your favorite grip? Smack them in the side of the head and say, I don't have one. I use all 3 of them. Because any experienced drummer will tell you that it's always changing. If I'm sitting here and I'm playing on the hats, palm's gonna be facing down, taking more of a German or like an American approach. Once I switch over to the ride, guess what? My hand's gonna change position. If I wanna get more stick, palm's gonna be facing out this way so I can use more fingers. If I wanna hit the bell, palm's gonna be facing more towards that way now, a little bit more of an American type of approach so I can get at that bell. So the bottom line is, you shouldn't have just one favorite type of match grip. Just learn to match grip. That's a blanket term that's going to involve perfecting all 3 of those. Now these, of course, are going to be all like split-second decisions that you're going to be doing while you're playing. And they're eventually going to become second nature. But you got to learn them first. You got to learn it so you can forget it. Tip number 5, and the one that I'm going to consider the most important one of the bunch, you got to relax. All right? You have to stay relaxed. The key to making all of this look easy is maintaining a constant state of relaxation 100% of the time. The 2 things that are going to play the biggest role in your state of relaxation on the kit is your body itself and your kit setup. So as far as your body goes, you got to make sure that you're seated in a position in such a way that you're always relaxed. So that means not sitting too low, not sitting too high. There's not any tension anywhere. There's no weird pains creeping up on you after an hour playing. And then for a lot of you, this might mean slightly changing some things on your kit setup. So if you look at my kit right now, I got a lot of stuff on it, but nothing is higher than shoulder height, okay? If you got stuff on your kit that you're constantly having to reach for just so you can hit it, that's gonna affect your state of relaxation. Here, I can stay centered. I got my sticks in my hands. I don't have to reach to hit anything. So what this means basically is that those 4 gears that I was talking about, I can use any of those 4 gears while staying seated like this and do what I need to do. I can get all the speed, all the power, all the control, anything I want to get, I can get from just seated right here. The biggest piece of advice that I can give you for staying relaxed all the time is developing your hands. Plenty of you, if you've been with this channel long enough, you've heard me preach this time and time again, and I will take it to the dirt. The most important thing that you're gonna do for as long as you play the drums is develop your hands. As far as I'm concerned, you can never spend too much time on a practice pad. You gotta work on your fingers. You got to work on your wrists. The more these are developed, the more fluid you're going to sound, the less you're going to have to work when you actually play, and the easier this is going to look and feel. So the clips that you've been seeing throughout this video are actually from a previous video that I shot. It was a little drum cover thing. I was playing through a Dave Weckl track. I will link that video at the end of this one if you want to see all of these ideas in application. If you've been digging the content on this channel, if you dig this video, any one of my other videos, you think they've been helping you out enough, and you feel like supporting the channel, there's 3 ways that you can do it. First one, head over to the merch shop, grab yourself a t-shirt. I got like 60 of them in there. This is the Canadian Loud and Proud shirt. There's an American version as well, looks just as cool. You can also support this channel on Patreon if you'd like. Shout out to all of my patrons, all my recent patrons over the last couple of weeks that have decided to join up. Very much appreciated. You can also support this channel with just a one-time donation if you'd like. There's a donation button on the front page of my website. All of these links will be in the description box. But that's it for me, man. Thanks for watching this video. New viewers, new subscribers, welcome to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when the next video is coming out. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button, there it is. Make sure you mash that before you bounce. Drop a comment below. Share this video if you dig it. Like, subscribe. See you next video.